Hi there, Alan Combies here, FasterEFT practitioner, and welcome to another edition of Morning Coffee with Alan. I was actually in my office, and I have this new sort of studio, and I'm setting it up and wondering what to do with it. And I thought I would just record a morning coffee episode and see how it went. So obviously not much going on. We just have this white background, but anyway. So what's the topic for today? Well, I was just thinking, and I just had a client actually, and I get a lot of my inspiration from, again, working on myself and seeing what works and what doesn't work, but also definitely working with clients. It's always interesting to see how people react to this type of change work, because it is something that most of us are not used to. We're not used to things changing so quickly. How we represent them in our mind. We're so used to hanging on to them and rehearsing them over and over again. And so when we make big changes fast, it can be a little foreign and it can be a little strange. And so I thought what I would talk about today is something that we call the apex effect. And the apex effect, I believe that term was coined in the field of hypnotherapy. And the apex effect is a phenomenon that happens when a client or individual has a problem. Let's say they come in to see me and they've got this major problem or issue. And you do the change work. You either reframe it, or you tap it, or you detransom, defractionate the problem, all of the above. You take the emotion out of the challenge or issue. You take the emotion out of how they represented it in their mind, and it happens very quickly. And when you go back to ask them about the problem, it's as if it was never a problem. Or they come back to see you the next week, and they say, I've got all these issues. I don't think this is working. And you say, okay, well, how about this thing that we worked on last week? And they say, what do you mean? And I said, well, yeah, you came in here last week and you were crying. You had this big issue. We worked on this specifically last week. And they say, oh my gosh, how was that ever a problem? And this is a very real phenomenon. And it's something that I bring to your attention because I think it's so important every once in a while to stand back and just say, okay, where am I now? And where have I been? In other words, what's the progress that I've made? Take a check and say, what's different in my life compared to a week ago, a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago? Because if you're doing this work and you're serious about it, you will amaze yourself when you realize how far you've come. It's like Robert Smith says. He says I still have problems. They're just now a higher quality of problem, and I totally agree with that. I every once in a while I'll go through some emotional things and I'll think, oh my gosh, how is this even possible? I've been tapping on myself for so long. Why is this a problem? How come I can't figure it out? And I'll just keep tapping and tapping and tapping, and all of a sudden, boom. And it's as if it never was a problem. But I make it a practice to pause every now and then and really be grateful for where I am now. Without these pauses, without stopping for a moment and taking a look at how far we've come, you run the risk of being a victim of the apex effect. And if we're always just facing the challenge in front of us and not being grateful and thankful for how far we've come, then really what's the point of all of this? If you're finding that you're not happy now, take a moment and be grateful for where you are and how far you've come. And guarantee you that will help you overcome the challenge that you're facing in the moment. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope it helps. As always, keep tapping. And if things if you're going through a rough patch, I highly recommend you go see a practitioner. There's a growing number of us all over the world, and of course you can go to Robert's website and see the directory. My office is here in Los Angeles. I offer one-on-one sessions either in person here in LA if you're local, or over Skype. I also do crossfire sessions, which is 2 practitioners with 1 client, and this is a very, very powerful technique that if you haven't experienced it, I highly recommend. Of course, Robert has events all over the world, and hopefully I will see you at one of those sometime soon. As I record this, Las Vegas is coming up in October of 2014, the level 1 training. There's a 2-day healing fest, transformational weekend, and followed by a week of training for level 1 practitioners. So whether you want to become a practitioner or not, I highly recommend Robert's trainings. They're all very dynamic, always changing, very healing. Every time I go to them, I still get healing. I get triggered just sitting there, listening to things, seeing other people and their challenges, and I tap along. And in some of these seminars have been some of the most healing opportunities that I've had. So highly recommended. Develop the skills to help yourself, to help others if you choose, and really live a life on purpose. That's what it's all about, isn't it? This is Alan Combies, FasterEFT practitioner. Another edition of Morning Coffee with Alan. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.